Welcome everybody to the All British Motocross podcast from Dirt Hub with myself, Ben Rumbold, and Dirt Hub boss Paul Ooten. Looking forward to and previewing the start of the Motul ACU British Motocross Championship for 2025. Thoroughly looking forward to the opening round. Paul, we've all had the entry lists in and it's looking exciting. We've got lots of riders entered, so we're going to have qualifiers, we're going to have non-qualifiers as well. What a weekend we got building up to now at Hawkston Park.
Yeah, super excited as always. Probably more so this year than for a long time. Obviously, today we're delving into MX2, 57 riders at the moment. Obviously, there could be some more. So, we're actually going to have two qualifying sessions and an LCQ this weekend at Hawkston Park. I think the weather's looking all right. Obviously, I'm down south, you're a little bit further up north, but down here it's possibly all right. Um, but yeah, MX2 was awesome last year. I think is looking really good again. I love the big mixture of age groups and skill sets and personalities that MX2 brings, to be honest. And even more so this year, I'd say, with a lot more rookies stepping up and some of some riders stepping back into the championship. I think the free registrations that they've introduced, some sort of new teams coming into it. So yeah, loads to delve into in MX2. And yeah, obviously we've already had quite a bit of racing. Obviously you've been at the GPs seeing the EMX rounds. We've also had the Scottish, the NPC at the weekend. We've had a Bridgestone. So yeah, we can really sort of hone in and see who we reckon are going to be the contenders this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, you've got the under 21 class is built into the MX2 category as well. So there will be technically four racing classes, although under 21s still count towards the MX2 championship. They just have their positions kind of switched around there. But yeah, I mean it's looking absolutely stunning. I mean, a really good lineup, and like you say, there's a whole mix of age ranges. You've got competitors from overseas as well, of course. Especially with the Gabriel SS24 KTM team, lots going on there, and lots of hopefuls as well who are stepping up from youth racing. Some of them for the first time, and some riders who are very successful in youth racing as well. It'll be intriguing to see what they can do this weekend. So yeah, let's delve into it. Who are we going to talk about first?
So I think you've got to start with the title contenders. So let's go in, let's look at the ones that are going to be at the sharp end. Look at the guys that are going to be pushing on for the championships. And I know one person that you've been chatting to off the press, maybe not for us, but Sean Simpson, two riders for Sean Simpson's team that have already racked up two EMX 250 rounds. Sean was his rider, Casvolk, was the champion last year. Obviously,
Yep.
he progressed now to MX2 and looking very, very good.
Yeah,
Um,
sixth overall in each of the three rounds. That's pretty mental. Yeah, that's
to,
consistency for you.
to Casvolk. So I think Sean Simpson's two young guns at the moment. I think you can see their inexperience at the moment. But I think they'll be using the British Championship similar to Cas, the British Championship to build confidence and build skills. But speed is certainly there. So Guyan Dunson and Max Werner for the Gabriel SS24 KTM Factory Juniors team. I think you've got to put them right up there as title contenders. And obviously, you're on the ground. You see them all the time in EMX 250. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately enough, obviously working at MXGP, but during the Grand Prix races themselves, I'm actually in a TV hut, kind of making the notes as to what happens when, so that we can use things for future TV production. So EMX 250 is actually the best race that I see in person. I can actually get trackside and watch it, which is good to do. So yeah, I mean, if you're talking about the Gabriel boys. Obviously, yeah, Gian Dunson and Max Werner, the Dutchman and the German. So far, they've had a best of like fifth for Max there in Castilla-La Mancha in Covar in the deep mud, and then a best of sixth at the most recent race at Saint-Jean d'Angely for Guillain, and he was higher up than that as well in race one before a crash. So. At the moment, Sean is looking forward to getting to the British and seeing if they can run up towards the front. An interesting thing from Sean's perspective is that due to what they were expecting to run on at Kothar, Saint-Jean d'Angely, and then moving forward, they've got Trentino, Switzerland, and also Portugal and Spain still to come, and Ernay. So what's the common theme there? Hard pack. They were really working on a good hard pack setup. So therefore, when they got to the Hawkston International, they really weren't in great shape for sandy conditions as such. So that kind of explains they were a little bit lost, I think, with the settings there at Hawkston Park. Obviously, I'm sure they would have worked on things now based on the opening round of the British Championship being right there. So, but it is still very much a, a sort of one-off sand race for them in the middle of all the hard pack stuff, because unlike the EMX 125 class, the EMX 250 class don't go to Sardinia the week after Hawkston. So they haven't really got a big sand race until later in the year when they hit the likes of Lommel and Arnhem. But yeah, so for those guys there, it's a case of, okay, well, we're set up for hardpack, and now they've got to focus on Hawkston Park. So Sean knows Hawkston very well. I'm sure he's been able to point them in the right direction from that side, and the team are very confident. The mechanics are there, giving it the big one about the next British champion, and it'd be intriguing to see. They're admittedly not as confident as they were with Cass on board. Cass is obviously proving his worth now, right at the top of the World Championships. And Guyan has moved straight up from being runner-up in EMX 125 last year. So, all things being equal, he should really be a contender. But again, they've had two, well, one massively muddy race that was a bit of a lottery, really. And then even Saint-Jean d'Angely was riddled with rain all weekend. So, it's been a very tricky couple of rounds for them. But, they're 9th and 14th in EMX. Between them, they could well present a challenge here of the British because, last year's British champion was 3rd in EMX. So that gives you an idea as to where the level is. And against the likes of Tommy, however, who knows Hawkston very well, and a whole host of other riders who go well there, it's going to be interesting to see how they stack up.
Cool. And talking to Tommy, NPC, so the first round of the Nora Pro Championship was at the weekend at Oxford Motor Park. The Dirt Store Racing Triumph team led the way with Tommy Searle. He went 1-1 in amongst the 450s. So Tommy, do you know what? Has he got it? Still, we always question, but do you know what? I think he has still got it. Whether he's a title contender or not, I don't know. But he is going to be against a lot of younger riders. And I think consistency could well pay off this year. And in that note, Tommy could well take that championship because, we're going to delve into some of the other contenders. I think most of the contenders in this series now are younger. There's not many riders really of Tommy's experience. And I think that means they're going to have good rounds and bad rounds. They're going to have storming rounds where they go 1-1, but they could well have a 7th or 8th and they bin it. But I think Tommy's going to be there 3rd, 4th, 2nds, maybe even a win here and there. And I think that, come the end of the season, it could be what crowns in the champion.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the one glaringly obvious rider of similar experience and age is Jake Nichols. He's back on that Quentin True 7 Honda team still with Dave Thorpe. And yeah, Jake's a solid campaigner. He knows Hawkston. He goes well at Hawkston. He goes very well at Hawkston Park. But yeah, looking through the rest of the entry list there aren't too many that just jump off the page as immediate contenders. Of course, last year, Joel Rizzi was up there as well on the same team as Tommy as it was then, but he's going up to the MX1 class for this season. Jack Chambers has moved away, and Bobby Bruce is now back in the class after a very rough start in the MX 250. So where Bobby is at confidence wise is probably nowhere near where he was before, even at the start of last season. So it's tough to actually see if Tommy's going to have much competition. Looking through the list, there's not really many that jump out there. So you've then got to look, like you say, towards the younger generation. Billy Askew is the one that jumps to mind because, of course, he has been really coming up with Tommy. He's kind of almost Tommy's protege, if you like. And yeah, he hasn't had a great start in EMX either. Saw him personally get sunk in the mud at Castilla-La Mancha, just got completely stuck. If you ran off track there, you were going to, because they scraped all the really loose stuff off the circuit to make the track rideable. And yeah, poor Billy got stuck right in a big pile of it. And yeah, it pretty much stayed there, to be honest. So yeah, he's not had a brilliant start. Neither has Bobby. Couldn't get a clear lap through in Spain to qualify for EMX 250. So that was a real nightmare for him to go all the way down there and not qualify. But then he did show some good starts in France. Not great finishes, it's got to be said. I mean, you know, a 19th and an 11th. So Bobby seems to be either struggling with pace and or confidence, and sometimes just not staying on the bike. So there aren't many, I think, actually have got a good run of steam behind them, as Tommy has got this year, because of course he was at Arena Cross and managed to get through that season unscathed, and yeah, decent results. So I think, to be honest with you, it's tough for me to look past Tommy in the contenders. But then you've got Charlie Heyman, who has always been promising. Had a great win in the Scottish Championship. SC Sport and Husqvarna is a solid team. They'll have a good bike ready to go, and Charlie is decent in the sand. So yeah, I think that could really be, he could be a surprise. I mean, you talk about dark horses, but to me, they actually all kind of look like dark horses.
Yeah, and that's interesting. You say, like I said, I've got Jake Nichols sort of starred on here because I do think in a similar vein than Tommy, really, if Jake can continue, which you know we've seen that he's quite capable of, you know, being at that sharp end, and I think now, you know, the way he is more mature, I think he'd be happy, you know, top fives, just consistently putting in the top fives, and I really do think, you know, over the 8 rounds, that is what is going to possibly put him on the podium. We've seen it, you know, Billy and Bobby, you know, in the EMX, you know, putting two motos together at the moment. I think, you know, this inexperience really tells, but you know, it is probably time for these guys to start, you know, stringing some good results together and getting some wins, because it's going to do their confidence the world of good when they go to the EMX. If they come up, you know, get a British Championship win and then go to the EMX on a high, you know, I think they really do need that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's a couple of other riders I'm going to put in there that I'm still going to put as title contenders. So I think you got, you know, I've got Bobby in there and I have got Billy in there, but they've just got to really iron out the mistakes if they're going to be there. But there's a couple more riders I've got in that mix. You know, like you said, we've got the old guard in there with Jake and Tommy because we know they're going to be solid. A rider that's interesting, and we saw him a couple of years back, is Florian Mio, because he was fast and wild. Now, if he has tamed himself out, you know, ironed out those mistakes, he could well be a title contender. But obviously, in the past, we've seen it. He was one of those guys that couldn't string two results together. But if you know, we're probably 3 or 4 years on from those days. So in terms of speed, I think he could have it. And if he can, you know, iron out those little mistakes again, I think he could be a title contender in there. Another one, been really quiet on him, but we've seen big things from him. Joe Brooks, like where has Joe Brooks been? Because it's been so quiet, but he is a super talented kid. Do you know
Yeah,
what he's
Joe,
up to?
say again.
You know what he's been up to?
He's on Triumph, and you're seeing a lot of Triumphs in this class this year, which is good to see. Lots of support going through, not just the Dirt Store Triumph team, which I think must be the poster team for that for the brand, but yeah, lots of other dealership teams seem to be running them. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And yeah, Joe, I've not heard a lot. Not seen him, and like I say, he hasn't been at the EMS 250, although he certainly is good enough to be there. But it seems like he's maybe building. So yeah, maybe he could well be a complete out of nowhere surprise, because he, you know, one of those riders who I think, well, I think we all know he really does need to start stitching 2 races per day together. He's probably fed up of hearing that, but that's the obvious thing to say about Joe. I mean, he's certainly got fantastic speed. he could be right at the sharp end and really shock everybody. So, yeah, I think that's certainly possible for Joe Brooks. Your point on Florian Mio with the SAS TPC KTM, massive truck, massive backing. They're certainly putting everything into it. And sadly, their other rider, Reece Jones, is still out after his injuries from the Hawkstone International. But yeah, Florian. Yeah, I just started commentating at the British Championship when he was breaking through in 2021, 22. And wow, yeah, what a wild kid. Like you said, he was absolutely could be right at the top or just landing on his head. So yeah, who knows? Who knows what we're going to get from Florian? And he's a proper character as well. He's a funny guy to talk to in the paddock there with his French accent with English that was basically taught by I think motocross mechanics. So you can imagine how colourful he can be. But yeah, great kid, and it's good to see him back in the British scene, and it'd be interesting to see what he brings. But yeah, Joe Brooks could well be surprised, and I'll put another Triumph rider in there because I'm a bit of a fan. I think he's a good rider, especially in sand, and that's Callum Mitchell. Did really well at the Hawkstone International, right up towards the sharp end, although they were all very much in the shadow of Mattis Valland back at that race. But yeah, Callum Mitchell put in a good race, and I would not be surprised to see Callum on the podium this weekend. I think he's a good, solid performer, especially in the soft stuff.
Cool. And he was fifth. Callum was fifth at the NPC at the weekend. So that, just a quick rundown of the top six from there. Tommy Searle went 1-1. Charlie Heyman, who we just discussed, good in Scotland. He is, I think this is his year to shine. It has to be his year to shine, to be fair, because he is too talented, really, to be getting some of the results he has. But we've seen in Scotland how good he is. So he went 2-2. Ben Musto, definite definite rider. I think is a contender for podiums at rounds. Whether or not overall, I don't know, but definitely a round contender for podiums. He was third. Glenn McCormack, who's had a really good off season, so far this year he's looked really good. He was fourth. Callum Mitchell, you've just spoke about, was fifth, and then Josh Vale, then coming back from his injury. I didn't think he was going to make it back, but fair play to him on the Phoenix Tools Fantic. Then was sixth. Baylis Utin was seventh, so fair play to him. So yeah, so we've seen Callum Mitchell definitely looking good. He feels good, and we did an interview, didn't we? I think it was on the last show, where he's just so more relaxed. He's had pretty much a year off, and he's just got no pressure, and he's just riding free. The team have really got behind him. So yeah, not a nice dude, and I think he's, like I said, whether or not he's quite got it to be in the top five in the championship at the end of the year, don't know, but certainly top five in rounds without doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned Glenn McCormick there, the Chambers Racing team, of course, a great outfit now doing GPs as well with Adam Sterry, who we'll talk about tomorrow who we'll talk about on the MX1 show, I should say. I don't know when you're going to release these, but yeah. And of course, if you're talking Chambers, you've got to mention Ollie Colmer. He certainly, for me, has been the standout Brit at the GPs, across all classes, maybe EMX 250. He dug in through the mud to get a great result in that second race there. He was 13th. And then, he scored points again in two races in France, despite, struggling off the gate from really unfavorable gate picks. So, yeah, I think Ollie is growing in stature. And again, I think he will surprise a few people this weekend. I'll be not surprised to see him up in the top five, and it'd be nice to see Ollie drag himself forward up to the top end because I think he's got real heart, as evidenced by his ride in the muck of Spain. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how Ollie gets on. But and also Ben Musto. I mean, got to cheer for the Gloucestershire boy, AC United. Gas, their Lone Ranger, I think it is at the moment, 2/3 at Oxford. And of course, he was right up there at the Hawkstone International. So Ben is enjoying. Well, I think he's like a Cooper Webb character. He kind of strives on being the underdog. He kind of relishes that and just uses that as the motivation. And Ben is the sort of character that could just come out and shock everybody with a podium this weekend.
Yeah, no, for sure. So just going back to Ollie, fair play to Ollie Colmer because he's been getting points in the motors. It's hard enough just to qualify
Yeah,
in MX 250. So he's not just qualified, which others haven't been able to, but he has stuck it in there through some pretty treacherous conditions and scored points. And I think if you're Chambers Racing, I think you'd be really happy with Ollie. Let's be fair. The effort that this kid puts in, he doesn't give up. Fair play to him. Another rider that has been doing EMX is James Barker. Obviously, he had a big injury last year, but
Yeah.
again, he's been doing some tough EMX rounds, and he has been sticking out there. So, yeah, fair play to him. Yes, plenty of rookies in here as well. And that's going to be quite exciting to see where some of these, and some of these guys are going to have to, because it's qualifying and things like that. Some of these young rookies are going to be in an LCQ situation, and I'm looking forward to that more than anything. An LCQ, young, hungry riders that really want to make the name for themselves. So that's quite exciting. Out of the rookies, is there anyone that stands out to you, Ben?
I was just looking through them actually. They got I've just lost count. I was counting how many. Yeah, I mean, there's lots who have come through from the youth ranks there. The likes of Mackenzie Marshall, who's come across, was MCA champion last year, is now going to be back in the British Championship racing for the Staffordshire Triumph brand dealership. So yeah, that's going to be good to see. Freddie Bartlett for 772 Kawasaki. Now he has had some good EMX results in recent years. I think he had a bit of an issue at the start of the season physically, but yeah, has come across there to race for the 772 Kawasaki team. Shout out to them. But yeah, otherwise the rookies, you've got Max Harris has made some moves there, number 472. He's been quite a surprise. Nobody really thought that he was going to be in the mix. Tyler Hooley is coming through. That's another name who was, racing Ben Musto and Billy Askew for 85cc championships. Kind of lost his way a little bit with injuries in recent years. But yeah, Tyler's a very talented rider. So it'd be good to see if he can bring the speed through. And Jake Walker is making his debut as well. He's a proper rookie. Only seems like yesterday he was on an 85, but number 99, he's a real hard charger. Racing, I think, is it Mr. T's Racing, and he's also got Fuzz next to his name, FUS next to his name. So if he's got backing from them on a Honda, great outfit they are. So Jake is a real trier, and yeah, provided he can keep it on the island, because he has been known to crash it a time or two, it would be nice to see Jake really pull through some surprise results, and a top 10 is not impossible for him, I feel.
Cool. I'm just going to mention a couple because I've done some rookie profiles. So Chester Hyde and Harrison Greenoff, two rookies in there. If you go on the website, we've done the little updates with those guys. Bayliss Uttin, I think he is a rider that's definitely. Is that how you say it?
Bayliss Utting, that's how I've been saying it. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Right, we'll go with that. But Bayliss, yeah, I think he's one to watch. To be fair, as well, in the rookies. I was going to say about Freddie as well. Obviously, we know his dad from back in the day. But there is a lot. You've got Ollie Bubb in there as well on the free flow. That's hard to say. Free flow. Madsen Crescent Yamhard in there. There's quite a lot, and I think in the way this season is, I think we could see quite a few of these step up and make their mark, and that's what I love about MX2 more than anything.
It's looking through it. Sorry, just to make sure I don't lose the thread there. But yeah, 33 of the 57 riders entered are 21 or under. So you've got a lot of riders there, a lot of youth talent, and yeah, we're all dying for one of them to come through to be a top level rider. And this is what modern youth riders in British motocross have to deal with right now. We've had such a we've been so starved of top riders on the world stage that we're just dying for someone to come through and really sort of start to challenge. We've got hordes of Dutch, hordes of French, hordes of Italians, even some Hungarians coming across. Why can't we get some British up there? And this is what really the industry needs. And the great thing is that they are doing this academy here on the Saturday nights, and starting to bring some professional advice to these young riders to really give them an idea of what is necessary to graduate from being a fast youth racer to being a top professional adult racer. And there's a big difference between the two. And hopefully with a bit more knowledge coming in, then some of these riders can benefit from that and move forward. But for the immediate concern, obviously, Billy Askew was sensational when he made a debut at Hawkston Park and the MX Nationals at the end of 2023. He had a tricky 24, and he's had a difficult start to 25 in the EMX scene. So how he's going to bring this to Hawkston Park is going to be, I think, the big question as to whether or not we're going to have a Tommy runaway or we're going to have an all triumph battle for the championship. That's the biggest question, I think, heading into the MX2 season this year.
Cool. Before we go to our top fives, any dark horses? I've got a couple.
Okay.
I was going to Freddie Bartlett was one of them. To be fair, Josh Coleman's in there because he had some good results last year on a two stroke, doing it for the two stroke guys. There is a French rider in there, Tom Keneally. Let's call it
Keneally. It's not Keneally. That's not French. Keneally. It'll be Keneally.
Okay. Anyway, him. He's in the entry list. Don't know for the series or anything, but he's a Sam rider, so could well be interesting. So he's in my dark horses in there. Like we said, Max Harris, great result in the Scottish Championship. Stephen Clark's still going in there. Do you know what?
Yeah.
He did still put in a few good results. So they're my dark horses before we go into our top fives.
Okay. I would put in there a little shout for a rider that was dominant in Youth 250 just a couple of years ago, had a very rough time since with injuries and such, like Tyler Westcott on HJA Racing KTM. It'd be a black KTM if he's true to recent form. So yeah, Tyler Westcott, number 202, very talented kid, and he has not had a great time of it in the adults since he moved up from the youth. But if he can get a clear season in, there's no reason to think that Tyler won't be in the top 10, if not even higher, if he can bring some of his youth form in there. So it'd be very interesting to see if Tyler can bring that through. And then there's the one for the two-stroke fans, Rafe Broadley, who won the Arena Cross Amateurs. And yeah, he'll be getting the two-stroke fans cheering if he can bring up. And he's a fast starter too.
I've got one more. Gavin Stevenson. Gavin Stevenson. I've never met the guy. Gavin Stevenson is my Martin Barr of MX2. You know what? It was a couple of years ago when I was watching a live stream. I think it's Fastest 40 or MX Nationals, and Gavin Stevenson just come out of nowhere and just and he was like an underdog that crept in there on. I'm sure he got on the podium or something in the pro class. So yeah, Gavin Stevenson, mate, he is my dark horse because he is another rider that grinds through whatever conditions are out there, and that touch wood, we're not in for a muddy season, but if we are, that is the character, as we've seen with Ollie Colmer. If we're in a muddy season, who would bet against Ollie Colmer based on his EMX rounds?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean it's going to be entertaining. Joel Fisher is another one who's a good off the gate. Again, twice Arena Cross Futures champion. So he's good off the gate and he's got sharp elbows. So it'd be interesting to see what Josh can do, what Joel can do. I would not be surprised to see him in the top three off the start in any race this year. And then one name that just sprung to mind there, Sonny Rooney, who's proper Scouser, proper Liverpool kid, and racing number 42. He's another rookie who again could well surprise a few. He's a very determined rider, and it'd be good to see what he can do as well. Okay, so we've talked it almost to death now, so I think it's time really we get down to the nitty gritty. Top five. Now, we have thought maybe we should do like a challenge or a prize for the winner or a forfeit for the loser through the season. We'll keep it's the start of the season, so we'll keep track of it. But yeah, any ideas you've got for out there, like anybody listening, any ideas you've got for forfeits for the loser for this top five through the season? We'll keep a track of it and we'll go there. We'll have a points table, I think. Paul, we'll sort that out. So these actually start to mean something now.
Yeah, because we do all these and we don't, we never look back on it to see whether we're actually any good. We could be really good or we could be gash. Do you know what? I made some good calls last year. And I don't think we celebrated them enough. So I think, I think we've got to do it definitely to, bring some spice.
I shall make another spreadsheet. Yippee!
You love a spreadsheet. How do you want to do this? Do you want to go straight in with your top five, or are we going to go fifth each? So you go your fifth, and I'll go my fifth.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, we go fifth each. I've got them written down, so that's a good way of making sure that we're we're not making up as we go along. I like that. That's cool. Yeah, okay. So fifth place, who have you got?
Before we go there, I've got like a
Uh,
big list of riders that are just going to be on the fringes of this fifth. I've got about 5 or 6 of them. So,
yeah.
you know what I mean? If you're not in the five and you think you should be, you're probably going to be in my list not far away. Just
Oh,
defending
yeah.
it.
Yeah, no. This comes with this disclaimer because I'm going to be on the commentary box. So anybody I don't put in this top five are going to be on my case as soon as I get to Hawkston. Where was I? So yeah, we've got to pick somebody. This is just a feeling, and if you prove me wrong, not a problem at all. Happy with that, and we'll see what goes on. But yeah, this is just what I think is going to happen. So yeah, just a disclaimer to all those teams that are listening on the way to the race, thinking, yeah, that commentator's so and so.
On that subject, because you're commentating, if anybody wants to see a different side of Ben, ask Ben how he's getting on with his Apple computer.
I'm happy and smiley at the races, so don't spoil my mood, man.
Yeah.
20 years with
Anyway,
your Windows, 20 years with a Windows PC does not prepare you for suddenly having a Mac. Anyway, yeah. All right, thanks. I was enjoying myself until you said that. Cheers.
all right. Anytime. Right. Who's going to go with their fifth rider first?
I will
Okay, go for it.
really ask you.
Okay.
Just think, hopefully he's got the speed. He might be higher than that. But yeah, I think fifth is where he's going to land. Maybe.
Okay. Mine, Ben Musto. I've just seen so much of Ben. Edward Heather did a nice little interview with him after the NPC as well. Yeah, still schoolwork, mate. He's juggling schoolwork and racing, and just seems like a chill rider. And we talked so much about riders stringing 2 races together. He's done it quite a few times in the last few years. Got some really good results by putting 2 good motors together, and I think that is what is going to get him into the top 5.
Yeah, good stuff. Fourth place, Callum Mitchell.
Okay.
I think he's just going to miss the podium. He was strong at the international, and yeah, I think he's going to be right up there. He's good in sand. He's been racing in the Netherlands, so I think, I think Callum is going to be right up at the sharp end.
Okay. I've got 4th, Max. Is it Werner? You say Werner, don't you?
Werner, yeah, that's
Werner.
because he's German. Yeah.
Yeah, Max Werner. I think it might take him a few meetings, but I think coming towards the end of the season, he's going to get podiums, and I think his points are going to rack up, so he's going to be 4th.
Cool. I actually crossed out Werner to put Mitchell in 4th, so yeah, did well. Third, I'm going to put Jake Nichols. Won the MX2 class at Hawkston a couple of years ago. I think he's good around there, and he's a tough old git. So yeah, I think he's going to be right up there.
Fair play. That is interesting. I've got 3rd, Bobby Bruce. I think he's the EMX. Obviously, at the weekend he made good starts. He's not going to have as many riders buzzing around his back wheel as he did at the weekend. And obviously, he did get hooked up with another rider, didn't he? So I think he's going to get good starts. And I don't know, I think he will feel he should win this. So I think he's going to be right up there.
Yeah, I mean, won the race with ASA United Gas in 2023 with Isaac Gifting unable to catch him. So, you can consider where Gifting is now at the GPs. And he was unable to catch Bobby, and Bobby won a race there in 23. So yeah, that's a very good shout. And I'm annoyed I haven't picked Bobby myself, but I don't think his confidence is there personally. But yeah, that's a good shout, and I'd like to see it.
Okay.
So second, okay, and apologies, Mr. Boxall, the mechanic concerned, who does listen to these. I know he's told me. I'm going to put Guillaume Duinson second.
Snap. I've got him second too. Yeah.
That probably means our winner's the same then.
It could well be. I think Guillaume's going to win a round or maybe 2, and I think he's going to be up there. But I do think he's not. He's going to have a couple of when he's not quite. I can't see him being out of the top 5, to be fair, but I think he'll have a couple that maybe just outside of the, fifths or something, where he's just fallen off or something. but I think he's going to be up there, and he's going to have a couple of rounds under his belt as well.
Yeah, he's Dutch. He's a sand rider. I think Hawkstone is made for him. So, and like you say, same as with Bobby, he's not gonna have a horde of EMX 250 people carving him up. So yeah, I think Gyan's going to be in good shape. So we both got Tommy for the win then.
Got Tommy for the win.
Of course.
It just, I just don't think you know what I mean. He doesn't.
He hasn't got the same established competition as last year. You
Yeah,
know, you had Jack Chambers, you had Cass Falk, you had God, who else was challenging last year? Oh, where's it all gone? Even maybe Billy isn't quite on the same level as last year yet. I don't know, but I mean, yeah, it just feels like it's not quite as stacked. No, Rizzy, that's it. Rizzy has obviously moved class. So yeah, I just think there aren't many that can unsettle Tommy if Tommy's riding at his best. We'll see. Arena Cross, he wasn't at the same level as previous years, but that was also on a 250 against 450s. Very difficult. So yeah, I think I can't see past Tommy for the win at the moment. But you know, I hope that the youth of the nation proves us wrong, and we have got a good championship on our hands.
yeah, and just looking, at the NPC. So in the first race, Tommy was third with the 450s, and he was about 8 seconds clear of Charlie Heyman, who was the second 250. But in race two, Tommy was, what's that, 16, 28 seconds clear of Charlie Heyman.
Yeah.
So, based on that, I know we've got the EMX riders in there, but based on what we said, consistency, throughout a year, round after round, mud or not mud, Tommy's been there, seen it, done it. He's been in that position where he doesn't go, right, I'm in third, I'm safe, I'll stay there. He won't go for that gap and come off and end up in eighth or whatever. I
Yeah.
just think, there's a lot of young riders with a lot of inexperience in there. Similar to what you're saying with Jake Nichols. He's been there and seen it and done it. And, I think this year is going to be, I think maybe this year is the year experience tells. And I reckon that maybe next year is when those youth riders just have that one more year under their belt and then start to edge forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's you forget sometimes how good Tommy Stewart was, or is. I mean, 14 GP wins. There aren't many British riders in history that have got that many. So, and bearing in mind he was up against Hurlings and Cairoli
Yeah.
at their best. So, he's one that I think is going to be tough to beat him. He is the yardstick for these young kids, and once we get kids that can beat an established veteran like that, then I think we can get excited about our riders. And that is genuinely, I know it sounds a bit brutal, but that is really where we need our riders to be. And yeah, fair play to Tommy for sticking around and getting stuck into the 250, bringing on the Triumph brand as well. And if my prediction comes true, then we'll have 3 Triumphs in the top 5. But that would be very interesting. But yeah, it'd be good to see the brand up there as well, British brand. So let's get behind them. And but yeah, that's generally what I think will happen. I'd love to be proven wrong. I'd love for the young Brits to come and blow everybody else away. But at the moment, I don't see it happening. So
I think as well, if you watch Tommy's vlog as well, you just see he has got an intense work ethic, and he's pretty hard on himself.
Yeah.
And I think when you see that similar, when you watch the vlogs and you see it similar to Billy, and what he's telling Billy, you need to keep riding Billy and all this stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think you see Tommy's character, away from the, the cheeky chap type guy, you see that work ethic, and you can see why he is so good still, because he's not, all right, he's vlogging and he's doing well at that, but he is still working very, very hard, and he's very hard on himself. And I don't, I think as much as he sometimes plays down that, the younger riders are coming up and he's not expected to do well, I think he still expects to be number one.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, I mean, he said on the British Championship podium a couple of times last year that he didn't expect to still be up here, or it was a surprise for him that he was still up at the sharp end. But having said that, interviewing him for Arena Cross, he's still expected to be up there. So that's just the sort of quandary of it all, if you like. But he was getting the start still last year, doing what was necessary, and that is, if you do what's necessary, you're going to achieve it, aren't you? So that I think is highly likely. But we'll see. Who knows? I'm open to be proven wrong, and we'll see how it goes. And I'm sorry to the Gabriel team that I didn't put Werner in there, but I'm sure I get the abuse from them when I pass, and maybe they'll just pee in my coffee. I don't know.
Nice. There is a lot of riders that we didn't mention, and like I said, I've got from a potential, sixth to tenth, Ollie Colmer, Callum Mitchell for me, Billy Askew, Joe Brooks. There's a lot of riders that I think are going to be. I think the fourth to 10th, I think is going to be a couple of points. I really don't think there's going to be a lot in between that next batch. To be fair, I think that'll be tight.
I mean, based on the predictions there, I mean, we've both got Dewinson as being the under-21 winner, as it stands. I think it probably is still under-21, isn't he? Crazily enough, no, he's not. He's not actually listed as under-21 here. I think he. Oh God, I thought he was. I thought he was. But he's not listed on the under-21s.
No.
But yeah, we'll see. But I think the under-21 podium, based on that, will be Dewinson, Askew, and then I would say third under-21. I'm going to just pick a name out of the hat. I'm going to say Charlie Hayman. But yeah, there we go.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I've got, based on that, Dewinson, Werner, and Musto basically would be my under-20 top three. Talking of under-21s, we've got the 125 class as well. So we'll have a little delve into that. Before we do, racing is going to be live streamed on YouTube by mxgb.tv. Obviously, the team that did the MX Nationals and all of that, they've got loads of other sort of behind the scenes videos and footage going on. So, they're going big from the media side of things this year. So all goes to plan. And the signal's all right at Hawkston, which we know is always a challenge. We will be watching from the comfort of our own homes the Hawkston International, sorry, no, we've done that. The Hawkston round of MXGB. You're going to be in the commentary box calling action. So that will be good for you, which you love. You're in where you love the best.
I can't wait. I've been stuck in the TV hut. I know, yeah, all right, poor me, blah blah. But I mean, it's great to be at the GPs. But I am, it's all writing and it's all work really. Although it's lots of fun, I can't deny that. But yeah, I love commentating more than anything else. And it'd be so. I can't wait to get in the box at Hallstone. It's just going to be great to be calling it and just seeing everybody just thrashing around for it. I love the anger and the intensity of British Championship across at the sharp end. It's just, it's great fun, and I'm excited. It's racing, baby. That's what it's all for. That's what we're all here for. So yeah, can't wait.
Cool. And obviously, if you can't watch it on TV, no. If you can't say that, if you can't be there, watch on TV. But
yeah,
be there is the ever.
Yeah, I mean, I'll add that disclaimer. I'll add that disclaimer. Yeah, I'm commentating on trackside. So if you're trackside, you get there, then it's me you'll be hearing. But if you're listening on the live stream, then it's Jeff Perrett and I think it's Phil G as well. But yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yep, so that'd be good to listen to Jeff and Phil as well, and you in person. Obviously, tickets are on sale in advance, but I'm sure you'll be able to pay on the day as well. So yeah, loads of racing to see. Obviously, going to be an LCQ qualification, 125s, MX2, MX1, 125s, mate. So obviously, again, with your EMX 125 hat on, more British riders took to France to ride in the EMX 125 class the weekend. The previous one in Spain, the Mudder, we had a couple of riders that made the races and score points in that mud. That is some doing on a 125. So Hayden Stat and Drew Stock notched up points then. One rider, unfortunately, that didn't, who was would have been a big favourite for the 125 Championship in the UK and possibly would have been an EMX 125 contender is Jamie Keith. So we do wish Jamie a speedy recovery after his incident. But yeah, Hayden Stack, Drew Stock. What did you make of those guys in Spain?
I mean, Spain was so tough, especially in the 125 class. It was a case of survival, really. And yeah, Drew did really well, scored in both races, 16th and 20th. And you're talking about a full grid. That means you had to qualify out of about 64 riders, I think, were entered. So you had to qualify first, and then obviously the two races. And bear in mind, they're hitting the track first, the 125ers. Although, saying that, in Spain, they switched it around. So they had at least the 250s to break the track up in the morning, the EMX class. But yeah, they're still riding super early, and it's a pretty crazy schedule for those guys. But yeah, 16th and 20th for Drew Stock was a great ride, a really determined rider, and it's good to see him getting up and scoring points. Didn't add to that in France, unfortunately, but yeah, he I don't think actually did he even go? It didn't show him as any points. I don't know, but yeah, yeah, he was there. He was there. Sorry, my fault. Yeah, and then yeah, Hayden just a single point from the first race in Spain, and then he has had some issues otherwise. But Hayden's a charger, and yeah, for sure he'll be one that to watch at Horston Park. So the two British lads there have been, really trying to push the boat out. But yeah, it's been good to see how they're getting on. Freddie Gardner was also there in Freddie Gardner and Charlie Richmond were also there in France. Charlie was actually quite quick. I believe. Let me just quickly check something here. I think Charlie was in the top 20, I think, in time practice. He was certainly right up there. He was he's certainly fast enough to score points, although I think he had a few issues in the races. So he was just outside. He was 25th in race one, was Charlie Richmond. And then in the second race, he was 35th. So he had an issue there, just had an issue early in the race, actually. So yeah, it's Freddie Gardner was also there, 25th in race two. So these lads have had experience, and it is a real shark's pit in the EMX 25 class. It's almost as bad as the EMX 250, I would say. But yeah, they've been out there, they've been cutting the teeth, been doing their best. So it'd be entertaining to see. Hopefully, Jamie will only miss one round. I think he's hopefully going to be back for Cannon Heights, maybe even an earlier EMX 250 round, EMX 125 round, sorry. But yeah, for sure, it'd be good when he gets back, and I think he will be a real contender for the race wins. So these kids this weekend, I think they've got to get some points under the belt because they'll need that buffer when Jamie comes back.
Yeah, and two of the riders that you said about in the EMX of the weekend also went head to head in the Bridgestone British Masters. And from what I gather, the racing was outstanding in the 125 class. Freddie Gardner and Charlie Richmond, then 2 points separating them after the weekend, after their four races. Then Freddie Gardner just got the nudge on that one by 2 points, then winning that last race. Then, but they both were pretty quick. Matt Bayliss was in there, obviously a bit old, so he won't be in the 125 class, but he was another rider that got the wins. But they obviously beat Matt Bayliss and people like Neville Bradshaw for the overall. But yeah, Freddie and Charlie Richmond were going at it big time in there. A couple of riders of note in there as well from Arena Cross, then Harry Lee and Lewis Spratton there that we saw do that. Some of the youth riders coming up through, Alfie Geddes Green is a rider that we've seen look really good on an 85. And I'm just trying to see the results because I've seen him somewhere already. Getting some results and just looking through, scrolling through hundreds of results here from the week.
While you scroll through there, I mean,
So,
it's interesting to note you've got Yamahas and Fantics against the Austrian hordes. There's no Hondas in there, no Kawasaki, no Suzuki. So yeah, it's all about Yamaha versus the Austrians, I think, and a few Fantics thrown in. But yeah, it's going to be entertaining. And Alfie is one of those that have gone to the Yamaha. It'd be entertaining. I rate Alfie Geddes Green as a rider. I think he's absolute class, especially in the sand. He's been very good there with beach race wins and such like. So moving straight up to a 125. Unless he's grown considerably over the winter, he's quite a short lad, so it'll be interesting to see how he copes with the bigger bike. But I think, yeah, he's a talent to watch for sure, and it'd be interesting to see how he gets on. But yeah, apart from that, you've also got Lucas Moncrief, another one who's moved up onto the Three Flow Concepts Yamaha. So he's in with Jeff's team there. Be interesting to see how he gets on. But I think looking at the lineup there, it's going to be between Hayden Statt and Drew Stock at the top of the races. But Charlie Richmond could well get in amongst them, as could Freddie Gardner. So we could see a proper good four-way scrap for the race wins. And yeah, it's going to be highly entertaining. And of course, this is where you can breathe it in, get the two-stroke fumes up your nose, and enjoy the day's racing.
Lucas Moncrief, by the way, went at Cullum. I'm just trying to see, is that Cullum? I've got so many tabs open here, it's confusing.
The Bridgestone Masters, yeah.
No, it was Oxford Motor Park. Then I've got Lucas Moncrief in the MXY1 Futures.
An NPC,
all 5 races. So ahead of Alfie Gibbs Green, Jack Evans, and Zane Stevens in that one. A rider I was going to mention is well in there. We've got Charlie Hucklebridge in there, Zane Stevens, 2 riders that are good on 125s, and Ryan Waggett, who's very good up there, up north on a 125. I wouldn't count him out of some big results as well.
Yeah, we've got the Irish contingent, Cole Nally, as well as Lewis Spratt, of course. So it'd be good to see how Cole gets on. He was a solid rider. He's with that Seca Racing team. I think that's something to do with Stuart Edmonds. So yeah, Cole has obviously got some good backing there, and we'll have all the advice from Stuart. So yeah, that should see him in good stead. And yeah, it's interesting to see all the names coming through from 85s that I've been commentating on the last few years. So Mason Jones, Welsh Kiddie, could well do good things. Fabian Junior Morrison is another one. Cameron Greener, and we failed to mention Harrison Greener in our MX2 preview. He is also there in the MX2 class on the under-21s. So that's a strong family, and it'd be good to see them enjoy a good weekend. Christopher Brindley as well as another Gloucestershire kid on a KTM who's just moving up to a 125. So that'll be good to see how he gets on. Zane Stevens, and I believe is Wyatt McGregor. That's Midwest Racing Husqvarna. Is Wyatt McGregor part of that South African McGregor family? I'm pretty sure that's a South African connection. I'll have to double check on that. But yeah, they had an elder sister, I think, who was also very fast in women's racing. Not sure. Sorry. I'll look into that as part of my prep for the commentary. But yeah, there we go.
There we go. No, so 125 is looking good. Yeah, just great to that we're talking about. There is a full 40 on the line in the 125s, by the way. 40 125s at Hawkston. That is going to be beautiful to hear, mate. Beautiful to hear. And like we said, in the MX2 class, 57 at the moment and counting. So there will be split qualifying, 2 groups. I think it's 37 go through. And then the LCQ. I love an LCQ. So, yeah, that is pretty much it, I think, Ben, for the first of our MXGP 2025 All British preview shows. And then we got MX1 to follow.
Yeah.
Juicy.
Can't wait. It's going to be a good one. So, yeah, we shall have the next one then. So, yeah, that's us for the MX2 and the 125 preview for the 2025 ACU Motor British Championship preview. And, yeah, next episode will be focusing on the MX1, and that will be out, I believe, tomorrow.
Superb. Right, we will catch you all soon. Thanks, Ben, for joining us from your lofty towers. MXGP Towers. Not that you're sat in MXGP Towers.
I am not in Monaco, all right? I am not here in Monaco. I'm in my little boxy office in Gloucester, which is just, the office is like a little spare room in my house, and there aren't any spare rooms in my house. So, yeah, I've had to chuff the kids out to sleep in the hallway. But anyway, I haven't got a hallway.
You've taken the dream.
Oh, shut up.
The dream. Tell everybody you're in Monaco.
I wish. No, not at all. But yeah, so thanks everybody for listening to us, and yeah, we will hopefully see you at Hawkston. But yeah, you will hear us next time on the MX1 preview, which is to come very, very shortly. So thanks for listening to the All British Motocross podcast. We'll see you out there.